Imagine this: you're a global icon, you have the name, platform, and a golden ticket to the most exclusive club in the realm of royalty. But somehow your second shot at building a lifestyle brand fizzles out like a flat glass of overpriced rosé. Meghan Markle's latest relaunch wasn't just a flop, it was a slow-motion train wreck that even her most loyal fans are struggling to defend. Let's start with the product drop that nobody asked for. Meghan's brand American Duchess goes rustic. Pinterest tried to spin up excitement with a fresh batch of luxury fruit spreads, floral sprinkle jars, and a new rose launch, but the whole thing laugh of marketing desperation. She claimed everything sold out in minutes. Reality not even close. People who were there live. Refreshing the page said items were marked sold out the second the store opened, not gradually over time, not even with a rush of customers, just poof, gone like someone hit a button and decided scarcity equals hype, which might have worked maybe the first time, but not anymore. You can't fake demand twice and expect the same magic. Viewers watching Meghan's launch video noticed something strange too. She seemed off, not her usual polished self. The energy was low, eyes darting, frame awkwardly cropped. She avoided eye contact, looked stressed, and it sounded like someone trying very hard to sound cheerful but barely holding it together, and that's when people started asking, what's really going on here? This wasn't just a case of bad business decisions, this was a peek behind the curtain. Meghan's whole strategy seems to be built on illusion of exclusivity, of buzz, of relevance, but when you start studying the actual execution of everything feels hollow. Make the floral sprinkle jars what even are those? Just random, tossed with pretty dried petals. Container no clear purpose, no story, no real reason for existing, except aesthetic. That's not a product, it's a mood board. And then came the jam. Or rather the fruit spread, which is what people in the preserves world politely called jam. That didn't turn out right. Meghan proudly called it jam in every interview, but professional jam makers noticed something: the texture, the use of apricots grown conventionally contain pectin. It didn't add up. Donna Collins, who's basically royalty in the jam world, even criticized her and stated, "What Meghan's selling is the kind of thing you slap a spread label on when your jam fails. Harsh but fair." Now, as Meghan stumbled her high-end debut, Prince Harry was spiraling in a different direction, with many royal insiders and commentators began sounding the alarm. Something's off with Harry, his public appearances are flat, his expression vacant, and there's a escalating worry he's something developing darker. Long before he married Meghan, Harry had been open about his struggles with grief, anxiety, and his heavy use of alcohol and drugs to cope. Furthermore, there has been speculation that those habits might be creeping back in. There was that picture in London, just a still shot, but the look on his face told a whole story. Wandering, distracted, looking like a man not in control. I mean, this guy seems to have had more drugs inside him than you can get in a chemist shop. I find it very hard to believe, not confirmed relapse, but the whispers are getting louder, and not without cause. Harry's history is filled with attempts to escape himself, and if Meghan's brand is faltering, if their California dream is beginning to sour, that pressure is falling squarely on him too. So while Meghan's launching fake sellouts and flowery sprinkle jars, it's not that Harry is supposedly in danger. Just a brand failing, it's a household unraveling, and everyone can see it except perhaps for the unraveling of Harry isn't some distant rumor whispered behind palace walls anymore. It's starting to show loudly and publicly. He has lost the spark in his speeches, had replaced with what looks like robotic delivery. People close to the royal scene are calling it a crisis. His breakdown included a complete meltdown. Once defined energy is replaced with confusion, hesitancy, and at times just pure emptiness. He's not the cheeky prince anymore, he's a man stuck in a fog he can't navigate, and it's not like the clues aren't there. This is a guy who's written about using drugs and alcohol as coping mechanisms, who's openly admitted he didn't want to feel the way he felt, so he took substances to numb it all. He described himself as someone trying to get away from feeling anything at all, the weight of his own mind. This isn't tabloid gossip, these are their own words, and now his demeanor is starting to Mirror that inner chaos again. Royal commentators have begun piecing things together. There's growing speculation he's turned to those old habits again, not just because of how he looks or acts, but because of the silence, the lack of clear, reassuring signals from their camp. Backbone. Even fans have started questioning what exactly she stands for, what this brand is supposed to represent, because right now it just looks like a lifestyle cosplay with no heart and the real kicker, the products themselves aren't even being sold in serious quantities. Insiders estimate that even with the sellout hype, the profit margins were laughable, maybe a few thousand at best. You can't build an empire off of 4 jars of honey in an Instagram post, especially when your product gets publicly dragged by respected names in the very industry you're trying to break into. When the Queen of Jams calls your spread a failure, throughout a jar, and the damage is done. Meanwhile, Meghan's fan base, 11 Loud and Proud, is quieting down. The Sussex squad tried to do their part, allegedly buying up large amounts of product, but even that felt forced. Desperate, there were rumors of someone grabbing 50 jars simultaneously. But when people checked, the limit was 6. The hype, it wasn't organic, it was staged. And with all this chaos brewing, one person hasn't said a lot at all, King Charles, but behind closed doors sources say he's deeply worried, not about the brand, not about the headlines, but about his son, because even with all the titles, all the fame, that's why Harry still seems lost. Starting to scare people. The tension inside the royal family is no longer about drama, it's about damage control. King Charles, despite everything that's what took place, remains a father. And no amount of royal protocol can erase the concern etched into his every move. When Harry's name comes up, insiders close to the family say the king is turned. On one hand, he wants to extend support. On the other, he knows Harry needs to take ownership after years of covering for his son's mistakes. Charles is reportedly drawing a hard line. You created this mess, you figure it out. That's not heartlessness, it's exhaustion. Harry has been battling demons since childhood. First the loss of his mother, then the pressures of royal life, then the media circus that never left. Add to that a move across the ocean, a marriage, 2 children, multiple lawsuits, and a brand that never found its jogging. It's a recipe for burnout. The concern now isn't just whether Harry and Meghan can make their business work, it's whether Harry can keep himself grounded long enough to find clarity again. Adding to the uncertainty is the question of money. Rumors are swirling that Charles may still be quietly supplying Harry with private money, even after the infamous "we were cut off" line Harry and Meghan pushed once. If true, it's likely happening under the radar. Perhaps it's a last-ditch effort to keep they afloat while the brand flounders, but many believe that support, if it exists, won't last much longer. Charles is under pressure from the crown, from the public, and from his own legacy. Bankrolling a PR disaster is not part of that plan. Then there's Eugenie, the wild card. For months she's been seen as the last royal relative who hadn't completely severed ties with Harry and Meghan. People assumed she'd quietly backed away after tensions boiled over, but recently she was spotted at Royal Ascot with Misha Nanounou, one of Meghan's closest friends. That small moment reignited the speculation. Is Eugenie still a link between the Sussexes and the royal family? Some are quick to label her a spy, a double agent keeping tabs for Meghan, but that might be reading too much into a social photo. Eugenie has always walked the line between loyalty and neutrality. She's friends with Misha, sure, but she's also rooted firmly in the monarchy. It's possible she's simply navigating complicated relationships in a family that's been ripped down the middle. Not everyone is picking a side, some are just trying to stay sane. As for Meghan, her issues run deeper than failed product launches. She's lost control of the narrative told by her former media. Weaponized, has turned skeptical. Even mainstream outlets that once fawned over her are now pulling back. The storyline isn't inspiring anymore, it's frustrating. Every public statement feels overly rehearsed, every post tightly curated, but emotionally vacant. Her brand is suffering because she doesn't seem to. Are you aware of who she is speaking to? Duchess.